Actually an important component to shooting or basketball in general, although I don't have the physique that really shows it off, is weight training. Although it's good to be able to do all things on the basketball court, where I find the weight room actually very helpful is just giving you the endurance and a little extra added strength to be able to maintain a good physical presence for the whole 48 minutes. I've been fortunate enough to play a lot of minutes over the course of my career, so when I go into the weight room, although it mightn't be a lot of weights, it'll be a lot of repetition, and there'll be emphasis on, making sure I know that I have, my legs are ready to carry me for 40 odd minutes a game. And core stability is probably something that I actually work on. Slider frame, all the gurus these days say it all comes from your core stability, so lots of abdominal work. But in saying that, look, I do all exercises in the weight room, probably just not as heavy as, say, someone like Roselle Ellis, just because we have very different body structures, but I get amongst it in there as well, just because I know that is going to help me over the course of the season. It mightn't kick in until the second half of the season, but the weight room is definitely an important aspect of a well-rounded game.
And JR, I was at training the other day, Kelvin Robertson, he's a little tank. When you look at him, he's got the guns, obviously spends a bit of weight in there, he's got a fair chest on him as well.
Yeah, look, Kelvin Robertson, he actually is a crocodile. If you look at him, he's got very little range. He's got those bloody dinosaur arms. So, look, he is a little dynamo in the weight room. And if you look at Kelvin, that's actually probably how his game's improved and evolved over the years, is that strength. He gets into the lane there very well, and he can maintain his body balance and control because he's got that strong base. And as you said, he does a lot of curls in the mirrors in there. Being a shooter, what you've got to realise straight away is every shot isn't going in. We would all like every shot to go in, but it's just not going to happen. No one has ever played this game. Even the great Michael Jordan or Larry Bird played for a lot of years and never shot 100%. So what you have to do is you've got to find that confidence within yourself as you build up your training and then your game activity to a level where you just know in your mind that you're thinking that next shot is down. When you're open, your feet are ready, and you're cocked and loaded, ready to shoot, and that thing is down. So you might miss a couple, but the confidence should never wane. But that's where your repetition and practice comes in that you know that you have done the work, the shot will always be there. But when I say working on your shot in practice, I watch a lot of kids anywhere in the world, and they work at a pretty slow pace. Makes me look like I'm a speedster. And that's one thing I'd like to say is, to become a good game shooter, you need to be practicing at game speed. So the more repetition you can duplicate at a game speed, carryover will be a lot easier and a lot quicker in carrying over to the games. A bit of background on myself. Basketball's I've always been around basketball, not to the level of Andrew Gaze, but due to family, I was always around the game of basketball. But it probably wasn't until I was in the middle of my teenage years that I really decided that basketball was something that I wanted to make a go of. It's growing up in southeast Queensland. I wasn't fortunate enough to make too many teams, but I guess that was part of the motivation and the drive that kept me going, because I just had a love for the game, and the game kept me going along. It didn't matter if I didn't make a team or whatever. It's a wonderful game in the fact that all you need is a basketball, yourself, and a hoop, and I always felt like I was progressing and my game was getting better. And then one day I decided that college basketball would be actually a goal of mine. So I guess on the back burner I didn't really worry too much what I achieved in the form of basketball in Australia if I could get over to America in the college basketball system, because I just felt that would be like a fresh start, but also I'd be competing against some of the best athletes in the world, so I would actually really find out how good of a basketball player I was. So probably come through the junior ranks a bit of an unorthodox road compared to most, but that should never deter anyone from pursuing their dream or their goal of whatever they're trying to achieve, in the fact that if that's something that you want to achieve, you just got to find the road that you need to take to achieve that. And you asked me, when did I realise that I was better than everyone else? I guess I never really feel like I have, and that's what keeps me to this day going back to the gym every day, trying to get better, and hopefully one day becoming the best.
And John, what sort of numbers, like obviously your dream was to play in college basketball, which you certainly did. What sort of numbers were you putting up in high school or in, I guess, rep leagues or whatever before you actually went over there that got you the attention?
Yeah, as I said, my junior career is, you could fit it on a foolscap piece of paper. It was pretty insignificant. I only played full Queensland under-20s the last year of juniors for me, so before I even got picked on that team, I'd already decided, and I knew that I was going to a junior college in America, so I guess that was just a lucky thing along the way. My numbers were certainly not flattering, because here I was 18 years old, trying to make the Toowoomba ABA team, CBA back in those days, and I was ended up just getting onto the team because I just always showed up for practice every week, and just because of the nature of that, guys missed due to work or injury or whatever, and just because I was the kid that always showed up, I was lucky enough to grab my opportunity that way. So sometimes for being the bad smell in the corner is not a bad thing.
And how did you actually, I didn't realise you went to junior college before you actually played at Gonzaga. Mm-hmm. Did you just obviously apply, and how did you go, I guess, getting from that junior college to NCAA?
Yeah, look, I had such a drive just to get to America that I wrote so many letters to different schools, but I also talked to different people here in Australia, the Americans on different teams, and just back in those days it was by mail correspondence. I've decided on Tacoma Junior College, which is up near Seattle, Washington. Got very good reviews on the coach at the time, so I went there. Probably one of the worst ever teams that I've ever played on, but in saying that, is a good situation for me to go in, that I got to play nearly every minute of the game. So travelling all that way to play every minute of a game, it's a great thing. So I got to showcase my talents, and then the recruiting process from there began. And fortunate enough for me, Gonzaga, which is a Division I school, at the end of the day was the only one that offered me a Division I scholarship, so that made that decision very easy.
And what sort of numbers were you putting up in junior college? I imagine you led the team in scoring and maybe assists?
Yeah, I was fortunate there, as I said, that up in Washington, the junior college league is probably like a 6'4", 6'5" and under type of league. If you're 6'8", 6'9", you weren't much of a player, because very guard orientated league, but I averaged about 23, 24 points a game, and then about 9 rebounds a game. So, but as I said, I just fell into a fortunate situation where I got to come in and play a lot, and the recruiting process happened from there. But look, junior college route is not a bad idea if you don't know which level you belong at, and I certainly didn't know what level I was at, so the junior college route definitely helped me finding out what level and ability I was at, but also got me acclimatised to the American college lifestyle as well.
And with the dream of playing college basketball and achieving that by, I guess, ending up in Div 1 and Gonzaga and so forth, as you mentioned, I guess you went to the big dance, the, what do they call it? The NCAA's, yeah. And what was that like? Obviously, you had some heroics down the stretch there.
Yeah, look, I was fortunate enough that everything fell into place at that end of the season for me, and Gonzaga had never been to the NCAA tournament, so to be on the team that went to the first ever NCAA tournament is a buzz and an atmosphere that I'll certainly remember for the rest of my life. And then once you get to the tournament, and you see the TV cameras, the CBSs, and then you got 8 other legitimate schools in your region there playing. You're playing against a lot of future NBA draft picks. We played Maryland University, which had Joe Smith as the #1 pick in the draft that year, and I think 4 or 5 of their other members went on to play in the NBA. So, for me to look back and reflect on that, to see the road that I took to get into a game, and just the aura of it all was unbelievable.